Hello and welcome. I am Gauhar Raza and you are watching Eureka, a program that brings an outstanding scientist face to face with you. Today we have a very, very special guest with us. A person, a scientist of that traditional persona completely before me. Hello and welcome.
Hello.
It's an honor to talk to you. It's an honor that you came to Rajya Sabha channel. When I asked you and requested you to come, you said that you do not want to talk about yourself, and you said that individual Ramasami is dead. What did it mean?
Today, what role the society gave me is not to focus and spotlight on myself, but become a servant of science. And those who serve a cause cannot have individual existence of their own.
It's for the nation, it's for science, it's for the advancement of knowledge that you always worked for. And this was somewhere at the back of your mind, what your grandfather told you when you were 10 years old, that walk selflessly. And you throughout the life walked selflessly.
Well, I won't say that, I try.
Am I correct that it was your grandfather who said that and it was etched in your mind?
Well, he said something more profound than this. He said every creation of God has a purpose. You must have been created for some purpose. Find the purpose for which you have been created and pursue that purpose selflessly. And selflessness must be such that it should be devoid of self-satisfaction as well, because self-satisfaction also is a part of selfishness. That not only he gave as an advice, but he timed it very well. He gave it to me in his deathbed, and that was the last he spoke to people. So it got etched.
You came from a small town in southern part of India, and from there you developed somehow affinity for science, and then you started excelling in science, both in the school and at college level. Did you pursue some role model during that period?
Yeah, I won't say I had a role model in the school level, because that's too early. You said interestingly that I come from a small town. It is a small town called Siviliputtur. But that very town, for purpose of record, had produced for Padma Prize winners. And the first of the Padma Prize winner, K.S. Krishnan, had studied in that school where I had studied before. Therefore, in some sense, you're right that my initiation into the concept of science, rather than the pursuit of science, happened in that small little place. When I was 10 years old, in the class, the teacher was asking what all of us wished to become. And I stood up and said, I want to become a scientist, without understanding
What it
meant. He took me to a classroom where there's a photograph of K.S. Krishnan, who had studied in that school before. And he described about Raman, described about Krishnan. But that was only a short description. But he talked about what it meant to become a scientist. And he said it requires three qualities. He said quality at all cost, perseverance to end, and a personality which will not compromise on anything until you find the truth. This was given to me by a teacher who was teaching me moral instruction. That is an important stage of life.
That was probably a turning point for a young mind that set the course.
No,
and then you decided to do. When
I
did
would
you
say that.
develop interest in chemistry?
Well, let me rephrase it a little better. Fundamentally, it was an internal inquiry even before the school started, because I said I want to become a scientist. And it was not through a personality inspiration. It is a search for knowledge which came through at home. It turned out that my spirit of inquiry was intense very early. At the age of 5, I asked my grandfather as to why did he go to temple. He said he wanted to see God. I said, I go to temple, I don't see God, I see a stone. He asked me, would you believe in what you see? I said, yes. Do you believe in air? Of course. You don't need to see air. Well, I feel air. He said, you come home. And first he said, I feel God. I said, I don't feel God, only you feel God. So yeah, both of us feel. So that I can understand. But God, only you feel, I don't feel. He said, you come home, I'll put you up in the front room, lock you up without cross ventilation, and you won't feel the air inside anymore. So just because you didn't feel the air inside anymore, it is not true there's no air. You're in such a state of mind that you're not mature enough to feel God.
So
This
it is through these interactions with parents, etc., that turn you towards science.
I would say towards inquiry.
Was there an opposition from the larger peer group or your family or somebody that how come you are getting into leather technology?
Well, there's a stiff resistance.
There must have been.
Not must have been. It was intense resistance. My father was very unhappy about it. And I did it on purpose. When I had option to do any branch of science.
You get into leather technology, it has always amazed me that you chose that.
Well, it is in some sense. It is in some sense. I would say today in hindsight.
But before coming to that, I would like to ask you that you went to United States of America, did your postdoctoral there, and you had the world open to climb the ladder. Why did you decide to come back to India?
Thank you for this question. I'll once again share, I came back to India in 84. It was a very conscious choice. It was not one of those emotional decisions. And I happened to go for a dinner somewhere in a hotel, and there was somebody else I had to share the table with whom I'd known before. And he found out that I just come back, and he asked the same question that you asked. Now I'm going to repeat the same answer I gave. And I said there are 4 stages in life: learning, establishment, accomplishment, and achievement. Learning phase, you require good ambience, good teachers, good peer group.
Best of the environment.
Rest of the environment.
Equipment.
No. The equipment to me is not important for learning.
Mm-hmm.
The phase of establishment, you require infrastructure. You get yourself established faster if there's a supporting infrastructure. Then there's a phase of accomplishment. In the phase of accomplishment, you set your desires, your benchmarks, and then you ask yourself question whether I accomplished it or not. But there is nothing you can do to say, I have achieved this. Achievement is a phase of social acknowledgement of your accomplishments being useful. And I said, I've gone through this phase of learning in establishment in this process. Now, no matter how much I might accomplish in an alien or an external environment not native to my own, the social acknowledgement is not likely to happen. And I think the social acknowledgement should happen in your own mother country. And that's the only place you will find.
And that was the deciding factor.
And I said to him today, as a child, most scientists remain as scientists as children throughout their lives with their curiosity. So the first time you get a high score, you go and show to whom? You show to your mother. And as a scientist, you give it to your motherland. And I come back here because when I was 10 years old, I want to be a scientist.
But you could have served the country in many other ways. Why did you choose the leather technology?
Okay, sure. Let me tell you my contribution in science was not in leather technology ever. My contribution in science is purely in chemistry. That's where my passion is, even today. That's where my curiosity is. Leather technology I chose at the age of 15.
You have 37 patents in leather technology.
Not in leather technology alone, in different areas. I have several patents in chromium chemistry, chromium technology, some in leather chemicals.
12 of them are in production, if I am correct.
I have 37 patents and 12 know-hows totally.
Right.
I have 49. Out of the 21 are in commercial production. All my 12 know-hows are in commercial production.
Yeah.
The basically leather technology choice was not a rational, let me say, well thought out choice. In some sense, and I chose this when I was running 16. I chose this particular discipline essentially to convey a message to my father and my family.
The rebel T Ramasami.
It was a rebel, and I was asked at the interview as to whether I thought only those who pursue leather technology can become a scientist. Because I said in the interview, I want to become a scientist.
Mm-hmm.
And I repeat the statement. I said, I don't believe so. I believe anybody can do well in any branch of life, any branch professional life, if they bring sincerity and commitment. So I can do well in any walk of life. But I choose to be a scientist, and I think I can do well as a leather technologist as well, but not only as a leather technologist. I said that at the time of selection.
So you wanted to choose a very unconventional area to prove that you can do well in science and contribute to the national wealth, which you have done. You have provided jobs to a huge number of people in the country through your technological development, and you have also saved huge amount of money for the country, 6,000 crores a year or something. It's mind-boggling amount that you have been saving for the country.
You are being too generous. I wouldn't say I did this. Let me now tell you once again.
And you are being too modest. You converted CLRI into the world's largest leather institute in the country. It was part of CSIR. It was one of the first institutes that CSIR created. And great minds have worked there. Your predecessors were also equally competent and outstanding scientists. So you had a great responsibility which you fulfilled when you were director of CSIR.
Okay, I'll modify the statement a little bit. That CLRI became the largest institute in the world, leather research in the world, is a credit to CSIR, not to any one of us who led this. It was the largest in size. What I chose in my path as a director as to make that a global leader in leather research, not just the largest in size, but a leadership in leather research. That was a taller task, and that could not be done by people who are outside the leather research institution, not by CSIR decision makers, but the people who contribute to research. And it turns out that that goal, in fact, I wrote in my CLRI Vision 2005, which I prepared in 1995, the single point agenda of Agenda 2005 for CLRI is to become a global leader in leather research, which we did. 37% of the papers published in leather research today,
Come from CLRI.
92% of leather-related publications in a general journal of the world is from CLRI. 7.5% of the patents of the world come from the Leather Research Institute in Chennai.
India, because of the leadership, very strong leadership, and very bright minds in CLRI have done outstanding work. This has not been translated into a habit among the scientists. So we'll come to Department of Science and Technology, but I have to take a break. Don't go anywhere. We are going to discuss now Department of Science and Technology. Welcome back to Eureka. We were discussing with Dr. Ramasami that when he comes from a small laboratory of CSIR, that too in southern part of India, caters to national demands and national needs, becomes the first-rate institute in the world, and then you are given responsibility of handling the entire scientific structure in the country. What was your first reaction when this responsibility was given?
See, DST is like a nursery keeper. The nursery keeper does not know which seed will germinate, which germinated seed will become a sapling, which sapling will become a tree, which tree will give fruit or shadow or none, or both. But the nursery keeper has to keep performing his or her task of nourishing the seeds. So I came to DST, taking the role of a nursery keeper and create an environment to do 5 things in the department. And I came with that.
Find the fertile land, find the correct seeds, try to sprout them, and then maybe one of them will become the tree that you are talking about.
No, I didn't. My task was even larger than this. It is not finding the fertile land. Create the landscape of Indian science and make it fertile. It is not find the fertile land, but work towards fertilizing the Indian landscape. And that's what it is all about. It's not just the sea.
And therefore, these 3 flagship programs that you launched, which are going to change probably the Indian landscape as far as science is concerned, inspire, one for women and one for universities, innovation, germinating innovation in universities. How do you look at them now? Because now is the time probably to assess the situation, that what these programs have done.
I brought 74 new programs, not 3.
No, you brought
let me come
huge. That's why I'm calling them flagship programs.
No, totally 74. And they are built on 5 larger goals. I'll come to the program later. First, I wanted to create a system of attraction of talent to study of science and career research and create a pipeline of good talented people coming into science stream. Then the next, which is much more complicated but important subject, is rejuvenation of research in the university system, which is important to me. The third, don't focus on technology, but focus on convergent technology solutions to social challenges of this country, which is a fairly important challenge. The fourth, if India were to become an important knowledge player in the knowledge economy, it is important that we don't look at Indian science inward all the time. Globalize it and set up the right kind of international collaborations and cooperations and partnerships to bring our SNT system on par with the globalized system. The fifth, which is a crucial issue.
Not only globalized, the most advanced systems.
To me, globalization includes advanced. It's not exclusive. And the fifth is to create a policy perspective which will connect these all 4 for science. But the most serious problems that we have continuously followed is we have always developed policy for development of science. Now, what is important is development of a science policy for development of India. Connect the science to development of the country.
Right.
Therefore, these are the 5 major tasks I gave to myself when I came to the Department of Science and Technology. And I consider myself even today a servant of Indian science, not as somebody who changed anything. Now, towards this process, you talked about Inspire. And Inspire is a flagship program. And when I presented it, to the government, to in the finance secretary chairing this meeting, this is investment into hope. And this investment into hope will start yielding results, if at all, after 15 to 20 years. And it will not happen in a 4-year time period of system. I am therefore going to make a very...
The cornerstone was catch them when they're young. Start inspiring the young minds and then lead them towards the excellence.
It's not the cornerstone. I think it is essentially a fully vertically integrated program. Let me now come back and explain the logic to you. This is not a scholarship program. People must understand.
It is not.
There are 5 stages. If you want to bring young people to do talented people into science, there are 5 human emotions to which you should serve. And those emotions keep changing in the age group. The first phase is excitement phase, when you are 10 to 15-year-old. So you must create an experience of getting excited with science. So we announced 1 million awards for children in the age of 10 to 15. The next stage, truly, is interacting with global icons and getting excited about science. Just not becoming a scientist, just science itself. And that was a place we got about internship. The third part, which is the preparation phase in this process, is the stage where you get mentoring, you get inspiration.
Right.
So the inspirational phase is the BSc MSc course.
Correct, at university level.
Then you come to the place where do PhD. That is the time, PhD is truly a mentoring phase. You work with a PhD guide, but unless you create an assured career opportunity, okay, to pursue science, not as a profession, but as a pursuit, that we create all the 5 elements.
This was integrated program, as you said, and it was very well thought of. It'll give you results maybe after 4-5 years now. It has been there for some time. At this intermediate stage,
okay.
Are you satisfied that it is going to yield results?
Let me now tell you, this has begun well. Okay, the best is yet to come, and I'm convinced the best will come.
Sure, good,
Okay.
Great. Why did you focus on women? Is it fashion now to focus on women all over the world, and therefore this program was a need of the hour? Or you seriously believe that without participation of women, science in the country cannot progress?
You said initially how a scientist pursue life, not worry about anybody else outside. I am one such group even today.
I know, because the person who worked for you in your house as a maid made a statement after you left that most of your salary was given to various needy people. You spent money only on books, and that has been your passion. Your work in Department of Science and Technology, in leather technology, has been recognized by the country, people, your peer groups, and abroad. Did it excite you every time you got some award, or you were not really for award?
I'll come to that, answer this question, but I think I have not finished this women program. Nature has made both male and female an equal partner in anything in life. Gender parity in science is a fundamental need of a society. Now, if you look at women, we have educated them, we have spent money in them, country has put money into the process, and they are bright, they have intellectual capability. It so happens, because of a certain biological origin, they need to take a break for family. And then science is a 24/7 profession. To getting back into science is not so easy. So we have invested into them, families have invested into them, and then when they take a break, they are not able to come back to science, and we have lost the investments. So Disha, which will now be renamed as Kiran, is a program to bring back women with a break in services, and then leverage the potential of both intellect and training for national cause. So this is a program which believes that women have as much to contribute to the country. As far as the question that he asked me about award, it's interesting you asked me this question, and I'll very quickly finish in one sentence. Awards to me, essentially, I don't look at it as a reward. Award as a process is a peer recognition for given to you, saying that, hey, you've done a good job. It's an encouragement to do better. And that's the only way I've taken my life.
Would you like to give a message to the younger generation?
Sure. Generations ahead of mine, when they were 10-year-old, they were fighting for independence. So the independence struggle was the most dominant human emotion which connected people of my early generation. Sacrifice was a responsibility and a duty. My generation, born after independence, did not have to sacrifice. Independence was given, but the nation was poor, no resources. It's a deprivation syndrome. We call it generation of deprivation syndrome. So we become more selfish, looking at rainy days. We never had aspiration for ourselves or the nation. Then came a generation of comparison syndrome. They always compare India with some other country and say that we have not got as well as we have done. The generation that is now growing up in this country today is the next best generation. This generation has to make this ancient civilization a powerful nation of the world and power contributor to the world. And they have to take India to her pedestal space. Of 1750, 28% of the global economic product was India. 2035, India must be a leader.
India must be a leader by 2035. You have a civilizational responsibility to excel in science. And this responsibility is not only towards nation, but towards humanity. That is the message with which we would like to sign off. It's been wonderful talking to you. May I, on your behalf, promise the viewers that you would like to answer any questions that they have.
100%, that's a promise given.
Thank you very much for giving so much of time. If you have a question, please write to us at eurekarstv@gmail.com. We would like to answer those questions. We'll come back next week once again.